This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Where we want to educate you about our market, empower you to make wise decisions, and help you engage with our expert contributors.
Let's get everybody caught up on the data first. Let's do that first, Danielle. I want to get them caught up and show them what's been happening. First, I want to talk about this week here, 10/22. We had 5,001 homes available. We put 736 homes in escrow that week. Again, when I say homes, I'm talking only about single-family homes at that point. We had closed 701 of them. 156 were withdrawn. And the median sold price was $340,126. The median sold price per square foot was $183,37, and we had median days on market of 34. The inventory continues to shrink. The number of homes put in escrow went down a little bit, but the closings went up. Nothing dramatic there. Then the following week, this last week, before the last week in October, we had an inventory of 4,989 homes. 848 were put into escrow in that 7-day period. 845 closed. Again, last weekend of the month. Pretty common for the city. A little bit of spike there. We had 138 withdrawn, and our median price was $335,898. Again, the median price for me on a weekly basis is too small a sample size to get excited about up or down. It seems to fluctuate quite a bit, but you'll notice the pattern goes up and down every other week, it seems like. The median price per square foot was $181, basically. We had 34 days on the market for the median days on market. And then this past 7 days, to get you finally caught up, inventory continues to shrink. 4,814 single-family homes currently available. In the last 7 days, we put 778 in escrow, and we closed 738 single-family homes. 119 were withdrawn. The median sold price was basically $341, and the median sold price per square foot was $180, just under $182. The days on market went down to 31. When I bring these stats up, we're trying to just keep everybody familiar with what's happening on the market on a weekly basis because of the nature of the market. But the truth is that the pandemic has not negatively impacted real estate here in Southern Nevada, has it?
No, I'd say our market is really healthy. Especially for October as we enter into a slower time, or supposed to be a slower time of year.
Yeah, traditionally this time of year we'd see things start to slow down, and people kind of in preparation of the holiday don't really necessarily want to move if they don't have to, and they don't like to show their homes during the holidays. But in October, it was busy.
It's a great month.
Yeah, compared to last year, it was very strong. And now that we're heading into the holidays, you wonder what's going to happen between now and the end of the year, because the holidays traditionally are a little bit slower. I want to talk a little bit about the CDC moratorium. There was an article, and I'm going to pull it up now. There was an article in the RJ just this past week about renters facing questions after receiving eviction notices. So the governor raised the moratorium on Nevada. He said, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. We're done with that. So a lot of landlords went out and sent eviction notices to tenants who hadn't paid for some period of time. Some tenants were quite surprised by that. They thought, well, gee, I didn't think I had to pay. And that's unfortunate, because that was never the case. It was always about, maybe perhaps deferring it and saving it. No one was going to get evicted, but you still owe the rent. But the moratorium from Nevada goes away, but there's still a national moratorium that was instituted by the CDC. And they did this because we don't want people on the street as a result of the pandemic. Nobody wants everyone put out of their homes because they can't afford to pay their rent. So the CDC said, listen, if you really are having financial hardships, we're going to protect you from eviction. There's a catch. You have to sign an affidavit saying you are in fact having a financial hardship. Basically, under oath, say, yeah, I'm not making the money I was before. So there has to be an actual financial hardship. And once you sign that, then you're protected from the eviction. If you're not prepared to sign that, or if you sign it and you're not telling the truth, you can not only be evicted, but you've just perjured yourself. And so now you're really in trouble. So that's not a good idea. Don't just sign it for the sake of protecting yourself. Make sure you're answering the questions properly and sign it with the proper reason. Landlords also have to understand that during this time, we all have to bend a little bit, and I think landlords need to try to work things out. One of them complained because the landlord wanted her to pay an extra $500 a month in addition to her rent to get caught up. And she says, I can't afford that. That's either I pay that, I can't eat, And so the landlords have to understand that, better to get a little than nothing at this point. And I know you've lost money in the situation. We understand that, and landlords have suffered as much as anyone. Some landlords, this is the only income they're getting, or other than maybe their retirement. And so for them, it's really important. But work it out with your tenants. Try to make it, such that they can absorb the additional expense that they need to, or something that they can afford, and hopefully it's something that gets you caught up. I wanted to also touch on a topic that to me is an important. It's a touchy subject to a certain extent. As a realtor, our job is to sell homes. That's what we do. And in the course of marketing a property, one of the most important elements of that is the list price, is what we price that home at, Danielle. And so I wanted to emphasize to people the importance of pricing it right from the outset, because we've heard, you always hear that conversation. I know you go to a seller and say, hey, can we try it, here?
List high.
Yeah, can we try it up here first and see if we don't, maybe someone will pay
for
it?
negotiation.
The problem with that is that it used to be that you might be able to do that. It used to be back in the day, before the internet, before Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia and Redfin, all these guys, you might be able to list it at a price that the buyer might not be aware of everything that's going on in the neighborhood. Now everybody knows everything. There's no secrets. I mean, every single house I've recorded is like, there's an announcement made by us realtors and everybody else. Oh, guess what? We just sold this. So everybody knows. And the research, and it's easy to find the research. It's easy to look it up and get the comp. So when it comes to determining a home's value, it really, from a administrative perspective, it's pretty easy. It's really a question of making sure you get it right. Don't you agree?
It's crucial to get the price just right.
So have you ever had an instance where a seller said, gee, I hear you, Danielle, but here's what I want to do?
So I won't mention any names of properties.
No.
We were listed at $1,675,000, and I had suggested that we listed under 1.5. And I think because of, it was such a large gap that it deterred people from looking at it.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until we adjusted the price to under 1.5 million that we started to generate a lot of traffic. And I mean, right out of the gate, as soon as we adjusted the price right under 1.5, it was like rapid wildfire. We got multiple showings. So I think the showings are an indication of that's the barometer for where the price needs to be, especially in today's market.
Showings and then offers subsequent to that. Right. So that's a really great example, because you talked about 1.5 million. It's a major price threshold. I like to talk about threshold points. So it's kind of like Walmart. You got something for 99 cents, and if it's $1, they might, it's $1, that's a lot more. That's $1. Oh, $1. No, 99 cents. So it's like a Walmart effect. But here's what happens. People search for homes on the internet. That's where they first see them. So what do? The first thing they do is they ask you, what do you want to spend? And so somebody puts in, I'll go up to 1.5 million, and you're listed at 1.52. They don't know you're there.
No.
They don't even know you're there. So incremental numbers of 1 million, 500,000, 100,000, 50,000, 25,000, 10,000. Those incremental numbers, every time you cross that threshold and go underneath one of those threshold points, you increase your online audience dramatically, depending upon which threshold you crossed, and therefore you increase your opportunity for visits. So it is important to consider that number.
And that's an interesting price range too, because they'll just look all over the valley to see how far that $1 will take them. So
exactly right.
I call it the science of Berkshire Hathaway is.
Yeah.
It's a science of numbers. Well, I think it's finding that sweet spot.
It is.
Where you generate a lot of traffic and multiple offers, and then it ultimately takes you beyond where it's listed and where you really wanted it to be.
And another factor that just keeps coming to my mind, you guys are talking about pricing and stuff, is an appraisal.
Yeah.
You can list for all you want, and then if somebody gets your hopes up, but then something comes in light, if a buyer doesn't have cash, there's no way that deal's going to go through.
Yeah, even if the buyer does have cash.
Even if they do, they might not want to pay that much
willing.
over appraised
Exactly.
value.
If they have that cash, they have that money for a good reason. They've saved that money, and
Exactly.
they're going to protect it. Yeah.
But when you have multiple offers, or at least just two, that gives us as agents better leverage to check the box on the counter offer that says there are multiple offers on this property. All we need is one more offer, and then I think that gives us as a seller more of an advantage to get them to come up in price.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just,
Love
you
having
don't
that
want to
leverage.
negotiate just one offer.
Yeah.
You want to get at least two.
You'd love to get two. You'd
Or
love to get
multiple, because that'll naturally drive your price up.
Please join us again next week as we keep you up to date on everything real estate here in Southern Nevada. Remember, send me any questions or ideas for next week's broadcast. Tune in every Thursday at 3. Also, please let your friends and family know to like our Facebook page and be reminded about our updates at LV Real Estate Radio. We'll catch you next week. Thanks again for joining us.